minutes. While you are joining, it would be good if you could give us a sign in the chat if you can see us and hear us, and if you also can see the presentation slides on your screen. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. You can hear us? All fine?
Super, thank you.
Perfect. All right. So I think 2 more minutes and then we can start. Hello.
Good evening, Bart.
Good evening. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Harry.
Hello.
Good evening, Hausmann. Okay, whenever you feel motivated enough, Daria, I think we can.
Yeah, I think that's enough waiting. Yeah, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this session that we call the 2026 Yacht Ownership Reality. This is designed to be a discussion about how the charter market looks like today, what has changed in the recent couple of years, and especially how yacht buyers and current owners can approach this charter ownership today with a smart and long-term strategy. So today's session is perfect for both experienced owners. I know that there are some owners joining today who are in the phase-out process after a program phase of some years, having their yacht doing charters with the program providers. And also it's perfectly suitable as well for new owners, people new to the charter management concept, since we will be discussing today both the market trends, but also the general aspects of charter ownership strategies. So welcome everyone. By the way, if you are a new owner and are not very well familiar with the concept of charter management, we also have our general charter management webinar for new owners, which is available as evergreen webinar for download, and you can watch it at any time from our website under events section. So, but today we will discuss the market changes and what strategy works, and basically what yacht owners should know today about how this charter management best works out. My name is Daria. I am the Charter Management Advisor at Yacht-Match, and with me today is Victor, who is the co-founder of Yacht-Match, and he will be helping me today, also speaking from his perspective as a yacht purchase advisor. So over the last years, we've worked with a lot of clients, especially across Europe, to help them structure yacht ownership and align this with their lifestyle, with their goals, with their finances, and with the goal to protect their asset long term. So today we would like to provide a little bit of a market overview, what we know working professionally in this field, what we know about the reality of the charter market right now, and help you to avoid risks, and also help you to approach charter ownership in 2026 season and 2027 season with an optimized strategy. So we'll start with a short introduction about us and then dive directly into the charter ownership today, how the market looks, what are the important changes, and then also explain the ownership structures and different models, how you can best optimize the costs, what are the risks, which solutions there are available on the market, how we can help you to choose the solution that best fits. I will also say a couple of words about the VAT and generally the taxes for charter yachts in Europe, and we will finish with suggested next steps for you to help you continue with the planning. Right, so we can start with a couple of words about ourselves. My name is Daria. I'm the charter manager and charter management advisor here at Yacht-Match since 4 years, but my experience in the yacht charter industry is about 20 years. I've worked on all sides of it, from the agency side to fleet operator, and now in charter management. So I have quite a long experience and a good overview about how the market looks like, and yeah, the trends and what is going on with the charter yachts. Victor, can you present yourself as well?
Good evening, everyone. I thought that before we start presenting, give you a quick introduction to who I am, Yacht-Match. I just want to remind you, please use the chat. If you're on your phone, I think there's a little app there that you can use for the chat. Or if you're on your computer, please use the chat to bombard us with the questions you have. We will, at the end of this webinar, take it up in the Q&A section, but please do so. It is informative for everyone, and there's probably questions that you have that some other viewers haven't thought about. So it's really helpful for all of us. So short, well, I'm Victor van Savoyen. For those who haven't been in contact with us or know us, I was in a position to work with one of the, let's say, largest charter companies when I started this career. And from that experience, I met a lot of really good colleagues in the industry and started Yacht-Match 9 years ago with the intention of being a consultant. So really what we do is to help clients to investigate the market, make them informed decision makers, and optimize the structure around having a boat in charter. So Daria and I are working with this, but of course we have a team. We are a team of almost 10 now in this Yacht-Match constellation, and with different experiences, but all specialized in this industry. So further on, if we have the chance and the opportunity and get the trust from you to work with you, I will be primarily helping you with yacht acquisition, and also do the resale positioning, the strategy of entering into this, and just basically the main goal of meeting your expectations and in comparison what the business demands.
Okay, so about the organization of today's session, we would like to keep it quite short. The webinar will be about an hour. Compressed information, no water. We would like to really stick to the facts, give you some numbers, some idea of the market, and give you a clear understanding, so you can go on after that with your planning, having that in mind. And we also recommend after this session to book your personal meeting with us to discuss your exact case, of course. But let's dive into the agenda then. We have this idea of the dream for many first-time buyers, but also in general, when we buy a yacht, there is some idea of the owner behind, how the owner wants to use it, which lifestyle advantage he imagines with having this yacht. It's not just an investment. In most cases, it's quite emotional. So we would like to make you aware of the risks behind this decision. So Victor, you can also say some words from your experience with the purchase advice.
Yeah, so I think many of us recognize that we're looking for lifestyle investments. We're looking to simplify things. We're looking to understand, get the ins and outs, and we're looking for someone that we can trust in helping us with this. So many people that we meet are entering into this yacht ownership with a very sort of simple vision. They want to have freedom, flexibility, this sort of lifestyle that they're all hoping to get with this investment, and experiences. And those things are absolutely achievable, and this is why we love working in this industry. But what is really underestimated in this is the operational side behind ownership. Some of us here in the webinar today will have experience with this, having had boats in charter before and facing the phase out of the exit now. But many are comparing, let's say, entering into yacht ownership or this type with buying a property or buying a car. It's not the same thing. So owners today will face, the things that are evident from anyone who wants to rent a boat today or have a boat in charter management. It's the rising marina costs, it's the increasing financing costs, it's the insurance complexity. We can definitely see that outside of Europe with getting the financing and the insurance to match each other. Maintenance inflation, legal and VAT considerations, and increasing let's say, positioning of the larger charter companies that are very disruptive to the market as well. So the reality is not buying a yacht is simply just purchasing a luxury product. It's about creating a small operational business. This is really the reality that we are discussing, and we want to clarify.
Yep. Correct. So there have been a lot of changes in the market in the recent couple of years. We've had some really strong boom years during and right after the pandemic years. So this was something that affected this market so much, and there have been owners diving into this market with very high expectations of returns. But the market has now normalized. So we say normalized, like stabilized. It has come back to the level before the pandemic. But the real difference is that there are now much more charter yachts on the market, but the demand is not more, but on the contrary, it's even a little less. And we have to adapt the strategy for the owners accordingly. As Victor mentioned already, the marina costs, operational costs, financing costs all went up, and it has become more difficult to plan. It's not a fast return, but rather a long-term strategy. I think this is one of the most important messages today from this webinar. that we need to plan long term with the owner, and the long term strategy will be at the end a successful strategy for sure if we approach this in the correct way. So the goal, as it says here, is usually not to make money immediately with the charters, but to plan it in the way that you have your asset at the end of the charter period with a good resale value, that you have been able to use the boat to enjoy it yourself, that we have been able together to find a solution to optimize your costs or to afford your financing. That is the real goal of the charter management right now.
Yeah, I made a note of that. I don't think it's the single most important idea of today's webinar, but it's definitely a very important notion. We are not here to sell any insurances or flag for any dramatic we're not there to talk about those things, but what we want to make sure is that you have to see it from your perspective. What are you investing in? Are you investing into someone else's business, or are you creating a business opportunity for yourself? And that needs to be combined with the fact that often deals in the market today are seen as very short-sighted. That's normally what's really good for a charter company, offering you something right now. But down the line, in 5 years' time, have you chosen the right partner? Have you equipped the right the boat? Are you in an agreement where you have oversight and insight? And is there a chance to change the conditions depending on what the market is doing? And what happens at the end of year 6, 7, 8, when you bring that boat to the market and you want to sell it? And all those things have to be structured in a way that makes sense to you. It makes sense to the business and gives you that sort of, what we say in Sweden, you have a belt and you have the things over your shoulder. So it's really an approach where we try to inform you about the different avenues, the strategies, what you can think about, make it sensible for you, show you examples, and make sure that you have that proof of concept leading into what will happen at the end of this investment.
Yep. So we promised in the description real data, real numbers, and some projections of the market right now. So we are showing them here a little bit. This is not all data that we have, but this is something I personally find quite important for you as owner to see right now. Regarding the destinations in the Mediterranean, you can see that Greece and Croatia maintain their super strong position in the market share. So there have been no important changes in this regard. There are many yachts in these locations. So when we plan, we need to keep in mind that the competition is also high by choosing this one of these popular regions, but you also have more clients with a demand for these areas. So it's balancing itself. So on this point, there have been no important turns, but we have seen quite an interesting trend in direct booking percentage, which has incredibly turned towards clients booking directly with a fleet operator, as compared to, for example, 5 years ago, where an agency was really important and kept the bigger share of this pie. Right now, direct bookings are very important. Repeating clients are important, meaning that the quality of your product and the service that you give to the client is super important. That's why it's crucial at the moment you choose the charter partner, the operational partner. It's crucial to choose the base that will provide according service, so that you can have repeating clients, which then can book directly, and it also guarantees early bookings, secures your share early, which is at the moment something that everyone is fighting for, and the market is turning towards last minute. Unfortunately, that was not the case a couple of years ago. Then we have, of course, an important comparison between catamarans and monohulls. And here, for the first time in the recent 3 years, we see that catamarans have a slightly lower occupancy percentage than monohulls. However, this does not mean that the catamaran trend is not important anymore. On the contrary, we can say that catamarans remain central to the fleet strategies, and for most destinations, they represent about 30% of the fleet, and also about 30%, 1/3 of all booked weeks. What is so special about catamarans and why this is a better choice long term is that by offering catamaran for charter, we can get the best type of charter client. We are aiming at families and luxury travelers who normally are careful, who normally book in advance, and this type of charter guest is the desirable charter guest for every owner, without a doubt. So long term, this strategy will be the winning one with the catamaran. Also because of the resale value, and also because of this general trend, as I said, for experienced charters, luxury charters, and not this standard bareboat anymore. So this is quite interesting. And we have also seen a very interesting trend regarding the average spending per week. So compared to last year, we have a decrease of what clients spend on a charter week of around 1,000 euro less. So if you compare the number of 2024, which was on average at 6,000 euro per charter week, we now have 2025 data with only 5,000 euro per week, which gives us also the idea that clients look for discounts, wait to book last minute, and also try to save their costs by, for example, going to low seasons or side seasons and not booking so easily the high season weeks, which can explain to some owners who are in the charter management agreement right now why the high season weeks might still be open in the calendar. That is unusual if you are a long experienced owner. So yeah, let's go on a little bit.
I think before we move on, we have some questions that we should raise. I also think that we should address a little bit of what you just said back to what we talked about before, the slide before, which is charter ownership shouldn't be seen as an investment to get passive income, but they can be structured really well, and it can be an investment. It all depends how you structure it. It all depends on what you're looking at from your asset retain, or how you retain the asset value. And one thing that really is the leading question today is that not only the people at these companies who buy the boats and then offer you the programs, but also clients ask us, okay, how much profit can this yacht make? You know, what's the best yacht to bring into the charter? How can that reassure that I have the best investment? And I think the smarter question today is more, how resilient is the yacht to this sort of normalized market? This is what it should be. Is how are you positioned with your charter management agreement to make changes? How are you positioned to be effectively looking at how you can change that agreement and your positioning and your marketing? And what happens if you want to trade up or sell your boat? Those are really, really important questions. So it's the yacht selection, financing, the charter structure, and the exit planning. And again, that becomes the questions you have to ask yourself in the beginning. But if we can just raise some questions so we can see if we can answer them now or we should answer them later. The first question we have is from Jean-Pierre. He says, he asks here, do you also have an overview outside of Europe?
Yes, for sure. We have this data. We just have not included this data on the slides for today's presentation. But yes, the report that we base this webinar on has data outside of Europe. It looks a little different for the catamaran market in the Caribbean than in Europe. But the other data regarding the booking channels and occupancy rates is quite similar, and also the general trend towards the luxury charter or crude charter as compared with bareboat is same in all destinations worldwide. So we have the general trend towards trying to book later, trying to avoid high season, unfortunately, and then booking bigger boats or catamarans. So that is true for all destinations. Regarding the occupancy, since the Caribbean market has overall more percentage of catamarans compared to monohulls, their occupancy is higher there. But it does not mean that the Mediterranean market is bad for catamarans. On the contrary, as I said already, if you plan long term, the catamaran is still a better choice because we target a better type of charter client, and also the resale value stays higher with the catamarans.
So 2 more questions. We have next question is from Harry, saying booking channels. You say 62% direct. Is that direct with owners? And then I don't really understand the other question. Princess Charters at the moment, should I set up a website? Maybe that's a different question on the side. Can you, Daria, respond to that question that Harry has?
Yeah, well, the 62% direct bookings mean that the client booked directly with the operator, with the base where the boat is offered for charter. Either it's the owner company that is doing the operations or the operational partner, base partner. It means that the client books directly there. Also, I mentioned already there are a lot of repeating client trend. Clients not looking anymore online on booking platforms, or also not looking only by the price. This is something that has turned around quite significantly when we, for example, compare data from 5 years ago, where we had big agencies on the big share of the market. Now it's not anymore dominated by agencies.
Yeah. The final question is from Bart. I think we addressed a little bit of that, but shortly to summarize the difference between choosing a catamaran and a monohull, where clearly your data here says that there's a higher demand and more bookings for monohull. So where is actually the benefit of investing in owning a catamaran? You mentioned, of course, that the higher resale value. Is there anything else that's important to mention there for Bart to understand why he should lean towards a catamaran instead of a monohull?
Well, it depends also on where you have or will have the boat based, because some locations are indeed have a very high competition for catamarans, and others have a much better niche position, so you will be much more successful there. But in general, yes, for the first time in 3 years, and this is the data we are sharing here very honestly, the monohulls have now a slightly higher occupancy rate, which does not mean much. it means that there are more monohulls available and more charter weeks fall to this group. But I mentioned already, when we see the overall strategy when planning for the purchase and putting your yacht, having the yacht as a business with the operator, we would prefer to look on other trends, like I mentioned, the bigger boats, the experienced charters, charters with crew, are all trends going up. And this will be the case for the next season and also season 2027. And also the type of client which you will have on a catamaran, and because you will have on average more skipper charters with the catamaran than with your monohull, at the end mean that you will have less wear and tear on the boat, and your resale will stay at the level that the whole strategy will be successful at the end. So planning long term, the catamaran stays the preferred option.
Occupancy rate has actually in the end very little to do with the EBITDA, the numbers you have in the end. Okay, so we can clearly see that with the boat owners that we talk to that are in this webinar as well, that have charter management with a large program provider, which they can easily see 23, 24 weeks booked on their boat, but it doesn't result in a higher profit than, for example, a boat being managed by a boutique charter operator just next door that only has 16, 17 weeks. So it's really all about how you're structuring this, you know, everything from claims towards discounts to maintaining a good costs, overhead costs, and such. So I think catamarans in general go for a higher price. And if you look at this data, that tells us that catamarans are going for a higher price, but there's a larger demand since all the costs have gone up last 2-3 years for monohulls, which is then in a lower bracket for more economic, for the more economical charters. And there's more of them, and there's also more older monohulls out there. And most of the larger operators that have the prime spots, which is the marinas really close to the airports, they're all demanding bigger and bigger boats because they make their profit out of you placing their boat with them. And they obviously want to have a catamaran that they can charge high weeks for, and the bigger the boat, the more cabins, the better for them. So that's the equation. But for you as an investor, it's not choosing any boat, of course. It's about equipping the boat properly and putting it in a market where it's not saturated, and looking at the resale value of the boat. So you're not picking one of the models that are producing the thousands. But in general, the EBITDA and the investment value of a catamaran is higher than the monohull in terms of resale value, in terms of what you will get year to year. But okay, your first initial approach and your first initial investment is higher as well. Okay, I think, thank you for the questions. They're very, very good. Let's move on to the next one. This slide is about structuring this as a business. So the yacht purchase is a very important part of this, because that's your emotional part, right? This is what we're talking about here. We're not, we're mainly talking to boat owners who are primarily interested in the ownership, the experience of the boat, knowing that it's their boat. So that's, of course, something that we romanticize a lot. That's really the fun part, choosing the equipment and choosing the boat and testing the boats together and all of that. But one of the most important decisions you will make is how to manage the operations. So who manages the operations and how is the ownership structured? So a poor structure can create and will create, which some of you will know who has a boat in one of the big program providers today, and is facing the exit now, will create these hidden costs. It will create operational stress. It will create a weak resale value, very much so, and we can discuss that in length. And it will create owner frustration. So your glorious romantic period, the first 2 years where everything is fine and happy and everything else, will just result in you don't want to ever do this again, which is the opposite. It should really be just your doorstep to more adventures in this segment. But a really strong structure will create flexibility, tax efficiency, optimize charter performance, and a long-term protection of your boat and the asset in this business. We're going to move over to slide 9, and Daria.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, there are two completely different ways of charter ownership, of having your boat in charter. One is a standardized solution, which is referred to as charter management program, often preferably offered by big fleets with their own financing help and making it easy to enter for the investor. Victor already mentioned in the beginning today that with this setup, you always invest in someone else's company, in a charter company who runs that business with charter boats. And these programs are always standardized and quite limiting for the owner. You have fixed terms, you have quite a long durability of the program. Nowadays, it's something between 7 and 9 years, which is a very long period. There are also restricted rules for owner use, and basically you are not owning this charter yacht until the program ends. So it's not your business, it's something that you participate in until the end of the program, and then after that you can take over the ownership of your yacht and start planning yourself for your own use, or for continuing the charter management on your own or with the help of a different partner. On the other hand, we have your own tailored charter management solution, which is basically your own charter business from the start. You buy a yacht and you open up a charter business with this yacht. For this, you always need a company, and this solution, since it's your own business, normally will fit 100% to what you want to do, where you want to have the boat, which boat you want to operate, what you want on equipment, when and where you want to use the boat privately. Everything is flexible and transparent, but there is always the light and the dark side of everything. So the dark side in this case would be your participation in everything that concerns the planning for your boat, meaning that your partner would contact you, will agree with you for the season, what the plan is, when you want to use your boat. It is adapted to your wishes, but it also means that you need to be actively involved, at least to some point. The big advantage is that you are very flexible. You can bail out, you can go out of this agreement anytime. Normally, these contracts are signed for 1 season and can be renewed after that. Reviewed, renewed, or also changed. The terms can be changed, and so on. You can also switch the region after 2 years, which is of course not possible with a standardized program. And another important difference is that the owner of the yacht is you from the start. So the owner is actually the owner on paper from the start of the yacht and the charter business.
I think before we start there, I think that most owners who come into this, they think that everything is handled by the agreement, everything is there and clear when you choose a program or something like that, that, you know, the ownership structure is clear, that the registration will happen like that, the leasing company is there. It's not really. So it's really also about understanding that who has your best of interests. That's very important when you make a decision to work with an operator. If it's a broker in between, insurance company between, a company that will deliver the boat for you, you need to understand who has your interest, your best of interest. And I've seen it a lot of times where the boat has been owned by, or operated or owned by a charter company, where you have where the client has a mortgage or, you know, a lien or some type of security in this in part of a contract, but that's non-effect. That it doesn't exist because the boat is actually owned by a leasing company, and you don't have any connection with the leasing company, and the charter company goes bust or is being sold, or the ownership rights are being transferred. So it's very important from the beginning to understand who has your best of interest. That's very, very important. But let's go back to what we've always said from the beginning. This is about asset risk retention, making sure that you go in with this with open eyes, well informed, and have a partner that can give you options with proof of concept, or actually with trying to sell a new concept together with you, to make that achievable for you. So that could be that someone is talking about, well, I want to make this as an investment. I'm looking to step up. I'm looking to have a boat to become bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm looking to offset investments I have in other places, and I want to use that money in my company to invest in this. How is that plan for me? Looking at 3 year, 7 year, 15-year plan. All of that is really, really achievable as long as you do it with the right type of data in front of you, you make an informed decision, and you have a partnership with someone that has your best of interest. The other side of this is, of course, everyone is looking at this from like, okay, this is an easy way for me to have a hassle-free ownership. By the end of it, I will take over the boat and it's mine, and I want it to be in the best of conditions. There's really, really a lot of different type of strategies going into this. And it's important that you ask the right questions and you have someone who can help you ask the right questions and give you the right information. So this business, this mechanics of the cost optimization is that every true ownership cost is basically the financing, the marina fees, the maintenance, the insurance, the refit cycles, and the depreciation of your boats. That's something that needs to be in this calculation in your business plan. And then to offset this is the offsetting side. This is the charter revenue. This is how you can optimize your investment in VAT optimization, and the strategic ownership structures that Daria briefly touched on. Being flexible, being agile, being able to respond to the market needs, and seeing how together with your partner when you can downscale or upgrade or actually exit this. So this is, again, the objective is to find that equilibrium, and not, you know, sort of a speculative profit.
There is a question from Jacob. If investment is tailored, do you provide any guarantees? For example, minimum 10 weeks yearly. So briefly,
I can answer that very, very simply. I can very really.
Yeah.
The best way to see that, and this is when we started Yacht-Match, that was a lot of the questions came from that side, because before that, in that period, 9 years ago, a lot of guaranteed programs were dished around. A lot of guarantees, a lot of part financing with a lot of guarantees were dished around. This is about partnership. This is about understanding really in the end that you have someone that you're engaging with as a company, and that we also need to be able to carry out what you're demanding, and we have to set the expectations right. And the way we can do that is to show you the data, is to show you what's achievable, feasible, and everything else. And from there, you can see what's achievable and feasible or not. If you want to put demands on your partners handling your asset and handling your best of interest, and you put demands on them, then your benefit structure also gets affected. So that's quite an easy thing you can see. You can, for example, go to any charter company today, the big global providers, and you can ask them for guarantees, and then immediately they will say, oh, then you have to structure this in a 9-year program or 7-year program or 8-year program. no say about maintenance, which is quite basic or barely. And also then you have certain points or certain weeks that you can use per year, and that should not be more than 2 weeks in the high season per year. So, I mean, the more you demand in terms of guarantees, which is quite possible we can do that, we can always go the guarantee route. Then you also have to you have to accept that that flexibility, that benefits scheme that you're looking for, that possibility to be agile and to to act on proactively, that's taken away from you. So it's really, I think the better way to talk about this is more to say, okay, how are you be able to achieve this? And you say that you have a projection of 18 weeks. How are you being able to achieve that? And one of our due diligence that we do with every operator that we work with is to see, okay, how are you managed? Which boats are you able to manage? What's your data from before? Where's your rating? How is your company structured? Who is handling this? How many are you? How many technicians are you? Etc. 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 The same question is asked to us. How can we handle this boat? What is our strategy together with you? What can we see from last year? How many bookings did we get on this boat? Etc. Etc. So I think we can reach that agreement quite easily to say we are working with very moderate data. We always make moderate assumptions. We don't overpromise, and to set the expectations from the beginning, because our intention is the same as yours. We earn money on the weeks we book on your boat. The operator is only interested in having the boat if there's some business case for them as well. And together we are a really strong team. So guarantees is always equal to you giving up more of your benefits. But I don't think that's what you want when you have a tailored charter ownership. That's really about optimizing every aspect of this, instead of having to find just guarantees on the behalf of your own profit, let's say.
Yeah, in other words, with the tailored solution, there is no flat rate income or any guaranteed percentage that the owner gets, but you get charter projection, which is realistic. You get also comparisons. We have goals that we want to achieve with the boat, and you also will be part of or taking part in that strategy planning. So when we compare the projection of different locations, for example, for the same boat, or how it would look with a slightly different equipment and so on, this is all quite tailored. But usually in a weak season, like you see here, we reach on average more than 10 booked weeks. So if it's a full length season, so your boat is on time, ready for the charter season in May, say in May, and we have the months from May till October, we would reach on average more than 10 weeks with the charter boat, because we plan where we have to put it in with the goal to reach these numbers. Here you have a realistic example with the 45 feet catamaran 2025 season, and we would expect about 90,000 euro gross charter income with the boat. Gross income means that this is the money that the boat generates on income with the charter weeks. But then from this amount, you need to, as owner, to pay for the costs that were mentioned on the previous slide, the marina maintenance, insurance, all repairs, and so on, and also the commissions to the base operator. So here you can compare how different this income can look for the same boat with a different season. If we have a weak season or a season that is shadowed by some economic complications, or some conditions that are not favorable for the region where the boat is offered, you could have a negative cash flow. In a normal season, you would have enough income to cover all your cost of ownership, which is already a successful strategy, and you would have some net benefit for the owner. And if we have a very strong season with a lot of demand, then you would have a good net benefit at the end. But again, I think the main message of today's webinar is the long-term planning. This is what we advise. This is something that is important to understand when you approach this, especially with a new yacht, but also with a yacht that is already used and still has some more years potential for the charter business. You always need to plan long term, and what is your goal after 4 or 5 years of this charter setup? What will be at the end of this period? Victor, you're muted.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you for that, Daria. Before I address this iceberg, I hear that I'm now in a position where I'm talking a lot about like an insurance salesman, but it's not really what I would like. But it is the reality. But before I get into this and the topics here, Jacob has a question, and Bart also had a question. I think we can get to Bart's question a little bit later in a couple of slides. But Jacob's question is, if you manage a charter, is there a minimum of weeks we have to commit to? There's formal requirements. Okay, so obviously if you have a commercial license, there's a certain amount of weeks the boat needs to go into charter, depending if the boat is operated in Spain, Italy, or in south of France, or Greece, or Croatia, which is the normal places here in Europe. But from our side, no, we don't have a requirement on that. We do, however, depending on where we place the boat, we will have an operator that has a business plan, who says, okay, well, I'm gonna give up this prime spot in the marina. This is normally reserved for someone who really wants to rent out the boat for a minimum of 12 to 13 weeks, let's say. So it really all depends, Jacob. That question is from our side. No, we don't have any minimum requirement. We often see that some of our boat owners want to have the minimum required charter on the boat to cover costs, again, that we mentioned before. And we have clients who are very determined on optimizing and trying to get as much out of the charter as possible. So it really varies. And that's where we need to discuss that individually with you, what your plan is. If your boat is heavily financed, or if you want to have investment coming back from this, or you just want to have a carefree ownership where the boat is prepared when you come and you leave the boat, and everything is left with the base and the boat is in really optimal condition always, then it's something we discuss together with you, and then we find the right type of operations for that. That's it answers all avenues, but no minimum requirement from our side per se. And Bart's question, I think we will address a little later. So let's go to this iceberg of hidden costs. I think most who go into this are focusing on only on the purchase price of this when you're looking at the avenues of what's possible or not. But the real risk are usually hidden below the surface, and these are the sort of 4 or 5 points you can see here. So, for example, is choosing the wrong yacht for the charter demand, entering into an oversaturated location. I think we mentioned that before as well. Believing in unrealistic revenue projections. I'm sure that you have spoken to other charter companies before, or if you have a boat yourself in charter and you're entering this webinar, that is familiar to you. You're talking to some young salesperson at the charter company, and they're promising you gold and everything else, and having no exit strategy. I can't stress how important that is. Exit strategy is really, really important. So one of the biggest mistakes we see is that this becomes like an emotional journey, more about emotional purchasing, let's say, instead of having that sort of operational planning. So a yacht should fit into your cruising style, how you're planning to use the boat, the market and the market we're in, and your type of market, and the resale horizon. This is the exit strategy. This is really how, when it's done well. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Oh, sorry.
Yep. So we have mentioned already there are different models of charter ownership available. There is, of course, no universal answer which of them is the best option. Of course, this all depends on the investor, on the owner. Some clients prioritize predictable costs. That's then a perfect fit for a program. Others need flexibility. So in terms of the owner usage, or also the period of this charter arrangement, that's why we always discuss this in advance with each buyer or owner, and try to advise the right fit. And then we help to set up the correct strategy according to which type, either program or a hybrid solution, or a completely flexible ownership agreement is best for your needs. So there is no one answer to this. It's very individual, and we help you to find the right direction for your needs when we have the chance to speak with you in an individual session.
Before we move on to this one, is categorizing everyone into three things. And of course, we don't like to categorize everyone into three different avenues. But if we go back to this slide, and we can briefly touch on Bart's question. And Bart's question is quite, I think, applicable and interesting for everyone. He's, in general, talking about, okay, this is what I know about. This is what most people are offering, most companies are offering, which is what we call a program avenue, or we have a tailored avenue. And Bart's question is that basically a lot of charter companies sell you a boat that they will rent out and look after the boat and let you have some weeks. These are the points, or what we said before, during a season. You pay not the full price, but you get a depreciated boat after some years. And then in a tailored version, you pay the boat in full and then rent it out according to your time financing schedule. And are you liable for operational costs, etc.? Am I correct? Yes and no. So basically, a program is something that is optimized for the charter company. This is the I would say the definition of that. A program is often also connected to a financing scheme. So that means that they have, the company itself that provides this have been working on floor planning, buying the boats, keeping them, putting them into charter. If they don't have a buyer who takes over the boat or buys the program, the charter income will cover the floor planning and eventually also the financial leasing of this. So we can set it up for you as well. So if the fact is that you have a budget that you want to adhere to, and you have a long-term plan, and we can really make sure we optimize this plan, we do the same thing. But the difference is that you have more an informed decision leading up to what you're choosing. So instead of just accepting what's there, you're choosing together with us the right type of boat, the right type of equipment, where we register the boat. We compare different financing companies, so we get the right type of cost of the capital, and then we optimize it depending on how much you can put in the beginning. That also determines how long it needs to stay in charter and how much the charter income is on that boat, depending on how we equip it and what type of layout it is. So it's essentially the same, but it's you're leading up to the decision. It's like you're informed, you know what's happening, and then you can get the result, and then can be the program that someone else is offering on the market. But in the tailored version, you have much more flexibility, insight, and you have a chance to actually do something when the market responds badly or if it's a bad year. So if you are in a tailored solution, and if the boat is registered in your company, yes, you are liable for operational costs. But for a company like a financing company to accept or give you financing in the end, they need to see, first of all, who is the operational manager, who's the operational company in this, what is the date on that before, how's the business plan, who is delivering the boat, what responsibility do they take. So they don't just give away leasings like that arbitrarily. It's not just like that. It's really based on their doing their due diligence as well. And when we bring the boats into charter, we will have the same intention. We can't run a boat on that sort of, break even. There needs to be a healthy, sustainable solution. So your operational costs will be, it's still a very profitable business to put the boats in charter. It's just how much your boat will depreciate. And then it's not a profitable business at year 7. So if your boat is depreciating more than 50% at year 7, then your income won't match that depreciation of your boat. So operational cost is on you, which is marina and insurance and winter services and all the services, and the cost of the ownership and accounting and all that. But that's outweighed with the income of your boat. And the less you want to rent out the boat, the more of that cost you have yourself, just like any other private ownership.
There is also an interesting part of Bart's question, which I would also like to answer. And this is about not paying the full price with the program at the beginning and then getting a depreciated boat after some years. That is also not quite correct. There are programs where you enter with not paying the full price and receiving the boat after some years without having to pay the rest of what the purchase price was at the time. However, in this case, you would also not get any income during the program time. So with this setup, if you have an initial down payment that is normally about 65% with this type of program, you have zero income participation, and then you get the boat after some years. There are other programs where you do pay the full price. You start with the initial down payment and then have a balloon payment at the end. So in this case, you do have a flat rate income during the charter years. That's to clarify this part.
Okay, super. Thank you. So let's just shortly, we've categorized you as interested in this into, we can call you buyers, into 3 profiles. So we have the sort of more on the left side, more the lifestyle investor seeking the simplicity. Second one is more the hands-on entrepreneur wanting to have that sort of tailored ownership. And then the third one is that value-focused boat owner and buyer entering into this with sort of like pre-owned opportunities. And each of them, I don't know if you identify yourself into this sort of categorization, but each of this requires a different type of structure. And the wrong structure can easily cost far more than the yacht itself over time. That's what I wanted to.
I think we can keep it short with the categories. Let's move on. One important point that I wanted to include today is the VAT status of the boat after purchase. So basically, because this is something that most of new yacht owners ask about at the start, basically, if we want to have a charter business with the yacht, then there must be a company opened for this purpose. And when we do so, then we have no VAT applicable upfront. However, the VAT has to be paid at exit when you finish the charter period with your yacht. And then it's on the value at that moment. So it's paid upon certain period. And when you start the charter setup, you are exempt from VAT for the duration of your charter business. And on the private side, if the yacht is going to be a private yacht, then it depends on where you take the delivery, if it's in within European Union or outside the European Union, and there is the normal rule that applies. If you take delivery in the EU and stay within the EU for the first at least 90 days, then the VAT is applicable on the purchase price, and you have to pay it as private owner. You are exempt only if you take delivery in a non-EU territory or stay outside for longer than 180 days. That's the simplified VAT structure. So for charter, you need a company. The yacht must be owned by a company, and then you are exempt from VAT upfront, but you have to pay it at a later point. Okay. I hope that Victor can re-enter. We can go on meanwhile. At Yacht-Match, we offer you this charter management advisory, which means that we work with you as your partner in the industry with our experience, and it is very nicely illustrated here. We act as your shield and get the right solution for you with the shipyards in terms of how the boat is delivered and handed over to you, but also with the fleet operators. We work out the best contract for you, and also can interact with the financing companies, so you get help on that side as well.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, we are already on the next.
Yeah, great. I think that it's. I think it's now when some of them of you that have joined us, we have already spoken about this, but then you also know the background of Yacht-Match. But it was very important for us in the beginning, also when I met Daria a few years ago, to position ourselves to be representing you as a buyer. So the Yacht-Match just exists out of this basic notion that the industry can be very, very fragmented and heavily sales driven. And we know that shipyards are trying to push inventory. We know that shipyards are effectively also owners of charter companies and vice versa. We know that fleet operators want to push their programs. We know that banks want to push their financing. We know that all of this basically ends up being very, very deal driven, very for the moment, very interesting. And that's where our role is different. We're positioned to really sit on your side of the table. We often say that it's not about putting you in the back of the car, but it's putting you in the front of the car, and we're telling you sort of, okay, look in front of you, what do you have, steer that way and steer that way, and why. So we really help clients. I think Daria mentioned that also. We compare the structures objectively to negotiate better terms for you, to evaluate the real projections, and to avoid conflicts between sort of your life cycle goals and life cycle goals of the business and the commercial pressure as well.
Yeah, so this is an overview of what this service, this guidance or advisory, how we call it, all includes. We help you with the solution. We also provide feasibility analysis. We negotiate with the operators, partners. We help you with the legal and tax setup, which is an important part. Also the yacht registration, opening up a company for this purpose, everything that belongs to have this charter business set up ready, and then of course the operations planning, which is basically the charter management strategy for your boat. And the goal is not simply to buy a yacht, it's always to create an ownership plan, an ownership structure, in this case a charter ownership structure that actually will work for you long term. That I think we mentioned several times today already.
Yeah. I think this section here for us, it means that, I mean, the blueprint of a successful owner is the owners who succeed consistently in this segment. They follow some principles, and the sort of the buying for the market demand and the resale value is important. That's something that we see consistently in those who have succeeded in this. To understand what is needed to create the structure around the decision making and who is involved in decision making as a partner. That's before purchasing, of course. They often prioritize the operational alignment over unrealistic promises. And I think we touched on that before, that it's better for us to talk about what is actually achievable there instead of trying to give away guarantees. With the guarantees, there's always a compromise. They maintain that sort of realistic expectations. And I think the realistic expectation is really, really good. It's to understand the pressures from those involved in this. So you have an insurance company, you have an insurance broker, you have an accountant, you have a central agency and a charter management company like us. We have an operations, we have the people working with the bookings, we have the people working as technicians, I mean, it's a partnership, to be honest, and to maintain realistic expectations is very important, and to handle those expectations, to handle the issues when they arise. So, and they also plan really early for the exit strategy, really from day one. And if you combine those 5 things that we just mentioned there, then that's what we say is a successful blueprint for entering into this as a yacht charter owner. Okay, I think we're nearing the end here. This is I think we're just mentioning, and you can see case studies online, and you can see some testimonials. But we also, of course, when we get into individual meetings, we can pair you with some of our boat owners so you can speak to them about their journey. But this is an example from one of our boat owners, and it's quite exemplary from one of our boat owners, because this is a boat owner who's had several years of yacht ownership, who's a well-known corporate figure in Sweden, has very high demands about structuring of the business, and who maintains this and what to do and the flexibility and so forth, and the choice of boat and choice of equipment and everything else. This is really, really exemplary client of how we can really optimize everything towards their demands. And this was a family that, like I said, had owned several boats from before, built boats as well, new and bigger boats every time with different shipyards, and also have explored this idea of having a boat in the Meds, but have explored so many avenues with different charter companies and never really got to the point that this really fits them. And we took that and we really listened to them, and we really bundled together the right type of structured approach so they can feel comfortable in doing this, because it's a big leap for them as well. So that's just one of the sort of clients we have that is more sort of, I would say, the exemplary client of someone who's investigated quite a lot in the market, has some experience, and have really high demands, and we can meet those demands. I'll leave this over to Daria.
Yeah, so I have included this slide with a concluding thought for you after what we've discussed today, namely that successful yacht ownership today is not about chasing any unrealistic profits. It's rather about well thought through strategy, structure, operational clarity, knowing well which service your client will get, and also aligning this whole plan with your actual goals and what you want to do with your yacht. Planning long term, we've mentioned that as well, is the best strategy you can have today in 2026. And we are very happy to get into a free strategy session individually with you to discuss your current situation, what your plans are, if you are new to this, or if you already have a boat that you want to bring into charter, you're welcome, of course, to book a free meeting with us where we will analyze your case and give you also some first insights and some projections for your case. And then we also have the look and see trips. I'll give Victor the word to speak a little about that, our events that we organize on our basis.
Yes, my experience, and having worked with this now for close to 15 years, is that there's a very, very, very important decision for you to do is, of course, understanding the economics of this, the budgets, what it costs, all that. And that's the meeting that you have, which is a free strategy session together with Daria to understand the P&Ls, the CFPs, and what's achievable and what to expect. That has to do with the sort of general brushstrokes of the concept, or the business concept. But one thing that's really important after that is to talk and get experience, right? So if you haven't chartered boats before, you have to get some experience from doing that. Talk to boat owners, do some research online, go to boat shows. And the next step is really, really to go and see our base. And I think if you go to the bases that we have in Croatia or in Greece, or if you visit one of the boats that we have together with a partnering operator as well, you will see boats that are 12, 14 years old, and we see some new boats as well. And you can compare the operations. You can compare that to other charter operators that are in the same base. And I think that experience is very, very foretelling. It's really interesting, and it's also a chance for you to meet the base, the people at the base, and to have a whole weekend to meet like-minded people, to go sea trialing on boats, because we have a very varied fleet. So that's a really important thing to do as well. So you can get a feeling for, okay, if I'm into that catamaran, am I interested in a fly bridge, raised helm position, or double helm position? Monohulls, what type of monohull, what do I want to have? Sailing, meeting other people, seeing the maintenance, seeing the operations. That's something we really recommend you to do, and we welcome you to do that together with us. So first step, meeting with Daria, get a better overview of the costs and the concept and what to do, and compare other offers that you might have on the table already. And then the second step is, of course, to come and see our operations that we're really, really happy to show.
Before the meeting, you can also do a little fun part if you scan this code, or you also can find it on our website. We have a short quiz to help you understand which charter ownership type could best fit your plans. So you share there some of the basic information about what you want to do, and then you'll get the first insight of what might be the fitting solution for you. But after that, of course, I advise to book a private call with us where we can go into details about your plans or your boat if you already have one.
Yeah, I think we have a last question here from Harry. If we asked us about the boats we manage currently, which I've answered there. That also varies a lot from year to year, because we have a lot of private boat owners who take the boat in and out. And the existing fleet is combined, and it will increase for next year, of course, because we're still discussing availability in the marinas for next year. And do we handle larger yachts, full-time crew? Yes, we do. I mean, at the moment, we actually have crewed boats that are only 48 feet. So we have luxury crewed at 48 feet as well. It all depends on this sort of model we do on that boat and together with the boat owner. But I would say normally our skippered range starts at that 50 feet, 48 feet. That's skippered range. And then the crew really starts when we get higher up, when we get above the 51, 52 feet. That's when we do crew. And crew, what we mean then is that we have a skipper and a hostess, and or we also have a full-time crew, which is then we employ them in a company setup, and they maintain the boat. And then we do not so much operational charter management. We actually meet and greet people around the Mets and pick them up, and we can even do double seasons. So we have boats that size with a full-time crew in the boat. They will do one season in Europe, and they will go to the Caribbean, do the season there, and then come back to Europe. So yeah, we handle this as well. Any more questions before we round up? Anyway, if you don't, okay. Thank you very much, guys. Bart, Harry, everyone, Jacob, everyone that's been asking questions and participating. Super. I hope this helped everyone else as well to get some clarity. We thank you very much for now. We have recorded this. We will share the presentation slides and we'll share the recording with you. And we hope that we get to speak to you one-on-one. So wish you a really lovely evening here from Sweden.
Yep, thank you very much for joining, everyone, and hope to speak to you individually as well. Thank you for today. So many have joined, and I also wish you a nice rest of the evening today.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.